The AllStar app, the #1 app in the business. UFC, Bellator, One Championship, PFL, and more. Get the app right now. Link in description. All right, man. Let's get into November 19th. Zhalgas Zhumagulov. You're in Vegas this time. You know, he has competed 5 times in the UFC. Man, he's faced some good competition as well. You know, what are your thoughts on his UFC run so far?
I think the Zhalgas has I call him Zuma. I don't call him by his first. I call him Zuma. He's faced some tough competition inside and outside of the UFC. He actually fought what's his name, the Hawaiian with the nice hands, knock everybody out.
Tyson?
In his huh
Tyson Nam?
Nam. Yeah, he fought Nam in his promotion before he got to UFC. Beat
Mm-hmm.
him. And I think he fought one other big name. I don't know, can't remember, maybe Bogatinov or something like that. But he's fought legit people,
Yeah.
and he's fought legit rounds. So I just think that he has a lot to prove in this fight, and he does have a chip on his shoulder. He's feeling the heat from the promotion probably. So he's 1-4, but he has a good camp behind him. He has a good team behind him, and I know he'll be prepared.
What kind of style do you see from him, though?
I just see from Zuma, he's more of like he's a scrappy guy, man. He has skill. He doesn't. Everybody in flyweight has skill, and his a little bit different. He's definitely a puncher, but he can do it all. He's just not gonna kick as much as often. He can wrestle. He can put you on your back leg. He can put you on the cage. He can put you on the mat, and he has good training partners that can wrestle really well. So I don't know, man. Like for me, walking into this fight, it's like just go out there and be the best version of you. Um, my last camp, I put a lot of effort into trying to take away so much from someone else that I didn't really fight like me. I was very defensive, and also I fought an opponent who was very confident and very offensive minded. So when I had my moments, I didn't take advantage of that. So this fight, all I've been focused on is hitting that switch, being focused on that, and less defensive and just pushing things in my pace, and not allowing that my opponent to have that opportunity to push me back as much.
That last fight, man, it was interesting because I felt like Muhammad was gonna go in there and me be more aggressive with the damage. It didn't seem like he did any damage on you. It was a lot of wrestling, a lot of grappling, a lot of grip fighting. That's what I saw in that fight. Not much striking going on. Were you frustrated at any point during that fight?
Not so much frustrated, just feeling like I missed a couple moments during the fight, but I was trying to focus on the fight. And I wasn't frustrated, man. Honestly, I didn't feel anything, which was what I was most upset about. Like I was like, I don't feel anything. I'm seeing everything. I'm hearing everything. I'm looking at the crowd. And it's not one of the moments where it was too big for me, but it was just kind of like I worked so hard for so long to get to that moment, and then when I was in it, I was like, damn, I'm really in the UFC. I'm really here. Like I'm really. It's like I'm hearing announcers. I'm hearing everything, man, and I'm in arena, and I've always been like that though. And I was like, after the first round, I was like, he'll have nothing for me, and I just never hit that switch to be like in the fight mode, if you could get me. And I was talking to my brother Jordan Burroughs because I went out to World Championships with him this year, and he won his um, 7th title. And I get to interact and be around him more than the average person. And I told him what I took most from that trip out there wasn't anything as far as like wrestling or anything, but more so mindset. He could be the most lovable, kind individual, talk to everybody, be involved with everything, be a father, be a friend, right? But when he stepped on those mats, he was so mean, and it was a switch, and it was like all go mean. Everything's heavy, everything's hard, everything's go, go, go. And I said, I need to make sure that I tune into that. So we had a conversation, and he was like, it's a such thing as just being too calm. I've done that before too, where I kind of like zen myself out and I didn't feel it, and I was like, and I just wasn't like in that as much as I could have been. It's like that what it seemed like to me was happening with you, and I was like, yeah, if I could put it in words, probably, yeah. But I was just too calm. Nothing was. I was like, I defend this takedown. I get back up. I'm here. I'm fighting these hands. Shit, the clock's gone. So some things that I recognized before the fight. I knew Muhammad does a really good job at controlling the clock. He does a really good job at killing clock. And if you allow him to do his game, that's gonna happen. So as it's happening, I'm like, fuck, like, but I'm not like frustrated because it's what I expected. I never expected him to get in a fight with me because I felt him on the Madsen Tiger and I've seen his fights. So I know that like after the first round, pretty much he goes heavy grappling a lot of times unless he feels like he's better than that opponent. When he meets somebody who matches him, he relies on that wrestling a lot. And I know he felt threatened by me on the feet a lot. So that's why he was like, I'm not going to stand with this guy. He's not going to ever tell anybody that, but you can see it. Like, look how he just fought Malcolm Gordon as opposed to how he fought me. He wasn't threatened by Malcolm anywhere, so he just kept coming doing crazy shit. He didn't take any chances like that versus me. Maybe the first 10 seconds he threw a wild punch, but when I moved out the way of everything, the only thing that happened, I hit my face on the cage. So, you know,
Outside of that, were there any other valuable lessons you learned from experiencing your first, UFC fight week as a fighter?
I would say just I gotta put on more of a show. I try to take something from my opponents as well. He does a good job at playing to the crowd and stuff like that. And I usually am really good at. I'm usually in the moment guy, like so. I'm just focused on my fight. I'm very focused, and I'm very cerebral. And so there are times, but now that I'm in the show, now that I'm on TV, it's like you just realize how many people can see you at a time. And I'm just like, I need to pander to the cameras a little bit more and I can still be in the moment, but I can enjoy it. Like, go out there. I'm a very, like, if anybody's been on the mats with me, anybody trains with me, and they know I'm laughing, joking, dancing on the mats. Some days I'm coming in, I'm a little quiet. I'm just focused on getting something done. But if you talk to me, we're gonna have a conversation, right? So, and in a lot of fights, I talk to my opponents, and it's not a cocky thing or anything, but it helps me fight. When I'm talking to people, and it's like I'm in the fight more. I was really quiet that fight, and I was just it was big. It was because it was such an important moment for me. I think I let that get to me a little bit too much. In this fight, I've experienced everything. So it's like I took all that in. Now I'm walking into this fight. It's at the Apex. It's gonna feel like an LFA fight during the pandemic. Like it's gonna be quiet, intimate. I'm gonna hear everything again. So, and that means the opponent's gonna hear everything I'm saying too. So like I usually talk to the corner and to my opponent's corner and my opponent. So I don't expect anything different, but I probably won't understand them because they'll be talking in their Kazakhstan voice.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting, man. The languages that fly around in fighting, man. There's so many different people from so many different places, and when you look at opponents, is there a different danger level to each fight, or do you feel like every fight is the same danger level?
you have to see that high risk in every fight. You can't downplay any opponent. And then this opponent, I'm treating him just as dangerous as Muhammad, just as dangerous as any opponent I've ever faced, and any opponent I move forward. I expect to see the best version of every opponent. And when you back a man up to a wall and he's doing what he loves to do, but like they backed him into a corner here, he's 1-4. He's gonna come in the best version of himself, I believe. And so I'm preparing for that. I'm not preparing for anything I've seen or any fights where he could have not been feeling his best. I'm preparing for the best Zhalgas I probably can see. And so that's what I focus on. I don't really focus on anything else. And the danger is going to be imminent anytime you step in the cage with someone with 4-ounce gloves on.
With Zumagulov, like fighters like to say that this fight leading, like this experience on this fight leading into the next fight is so helpful. Do you feel like that's the case right here? The stylistic, matchups or the stylistic similarities of Zumagulov and Makaev?
Yeah, it's very similar fight. Zhalgas just isn't as physically imposing, right? Um, Makiav's fought at 135 most of his career, and he's just now becoming a 25 or so. He's a little bit bigger than most 25ers. He makes the weight, but he's a little bit more physically imposing, and the way that he fights. Zhalgas is more. He's gone to more a movement and blitz type style. More recently, he used to be more pushing forward a little bit more in his career, and so it's interesting to see what he comes out and does. Um, I'm intrigued by this fight because on paper it's oil and water, but I know it's going to be a great fight. I went in there with every intention to finish him, but I know that it's not going to be easy.
Yeah, he's a tough dude. Any changes you made to your surroundings or to your schedule for this training camp?
No, man, I just stayed in Michigan here with my main team this camp. I didn't go out to Philly. I didn't have much time when I finished my last fight. I was in Norway for a couple months, and then when I came back, I was just on the grind here in Michigan. So just wrestling, hitting, just getting in a good groove with my coach, and just staying in a specific mindset for this fight. Um, just wanted to just be locked in here in one spot for this camp in particular. And then after this camp, go out and get some work somewhere. I might be coming to Thailand January, February. I'm planning on that. Just depends on how the fight goes and everything. As far as finances line up.
Any new faces that are coming into the gym to help you guys out, just as a team in general?
No, not necessarily. We try to bring in other people, but for the most part, we have a good, solid group of young guys that are prospects or in the show already. Between me and Joaquin Buckley, we just had a guy from St. Louis come down. He's going to be training us full time. His name's Max. He's Koryev. He's Uzbekistani, but we've known him since amateur days in St. Louis. He's a very strong grappler, wrestler, but he's closer to Joaquin's size. He's a great addition. And then we just have a solid room of 135ers, 45ers, and smaller wrestler type bodies that we have a grind type gym. Every gym's different, right? You got big gyms, small gyms, local gyms, regional gyms, and we're just kind of in that mix between where we're working to a point where we can start bringing in higher level people, higher names, but what we have works great for us because we have a coach who's very experienced, been in the game for a very long time, and we have enough other coaching to come in on days and get specific technique like jujitsu. We got a jujitsu guy that comes in from a local gym. It's like a brown belt, teaches these no-gi and situational things, corrections, helps guys who doesn't understand certain positions. And we can go to their gym at any time. Like I go there 3 times a week, two to 3 times a week now on Sundays. I've been doing 6 to 7 days a week. I'm doing 2 a days, 3 a day some days. So it's all about as a professional in MMA, you have to move a little bit different, right? And so you got to go get what you need. And so I do a great job working with Justin Hardick, my strength and conditioning coach, and Joaquin, strength and conditioning coach, um, at the Human Performance Institute. He just does everything we need. I'm actually at his house now, and going to go out to the hill, get a workout with him. And when I get off of here, we just do a great job at maintaining and building. We've been building on the same thing for about 8 to 10 months now, um, conditioning, strength wise, and so that's kind of where I'm at with training and everything. If I can get out to another bigger gym and get some spar rounds in or get some looks, but I don't really like training with guys that are my size, honestly.
Yeah, the SNC, man, I see a lot of guys incorporating that more and more and more as they, rise up the ranks, and it does make a huge difference. The bodies look different. The weight cut sometimes it seems like it becomes easier for certain fighters, right? And there's a huge impact in that. I'm happy to hear that for yourself. So how do you picture this fight, man, in your mind? Like you're gonna be in the apex. It's gonna be quiet. You're gonna be able to control the environment, so to say, right? It's not going to be no crowd really. What do you see?
I just see me going out here and people getting to see the real look at who I am. Like, this guy's a fucking problem. Who did he fight last? Oh, he fought. Oh, they went to decision. Oh yeah, he fought Makai. Makai held him the whole time. Oh, and I get to set the tone for whatever the narrative is gonna be of me in my career, beginning with this fight. Last fight, yes, but really this fight, people are gonna get to see um, the true version of what I am, and I have a lot to prove to myself, and high expectations for myself in this fight. Um, I'm looking to break records, man. I'm looking to set the tone at 125 for this new crop of such talented guys that are in there, to show that, hey, this narrative you guys have of this weight class is completely skewed. Everybody in this weight class is a fucking champion, damn near. Pay attention. It's skilled. It's high pace. It's high level. You don't have to put on the same fight 4 times in a row. We're talented and we're here. So the only way you're gonna get those fights, you got to get the fans talking. You got to get people excited about you. You know, that's the goal. I know I can fight. I know I'm skilled. I know I can perform at championship level. So now it's about going out there, enjoying what I do, and putting on the show.
November 19th, UFC Fight Night in Las Vegas. Charles, you'll be back in action. If you want to know more about Charles, go in the descriptions and download the AllStar app. Charles, appreciate the time and all the best in this fight.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you.